Consciousness is a funny thing. It can be so uncomfortable when it seems to turn on you. When you experience endless resistance. When you experience pushing against thoughts that seem to come out of nowhere. Or when there's a pervasive feeling of dysphoria or discontent, and you're not sure where it's coming from. You're not sure if you're the one causing it or if it's being imposed upon you from some outside force. Often we have the perception that we're causing our own struggle, but we actually don't know how to stop doing it. It seems like stopping struggling causes as much discontent as continuing the struggle. So, what do? This experience of consciousness, this polarized consciousness, is the human condition. It's how we experience moment-to-moment internal reality much of the day before we start to shift our perceptions, before we start to unload the polarities of self and other, of resistance, of doubt, and struggling against doubt. When we start to investigate the nature of control and choice and doership, we recognize that so much of this struggle is thought-based. That in the actual world, none of this is happening somehow. Yet it sure feels like it's happening when we're entangled in it. And then with a certain kind of perceptual shift, the whole thing can just stop. And we experience consciousness as seamless unity, peace, neutrality, an ever-expansive space of undifferentiated being, undifferentiated knowing. How does this happen? We're not sure, but when it does happen, it's clear that this undifferentiated being, this clarity and expansion, is more real than what we were taking ourselves to be previously. That the paradigm of struggle was itself only one movement inside consciousness. It wasn't anything to do with who we actually are. And we're not burdened by it at the level of our identity. Because identity now experiences itself as this seamless spaciousness. Identity feels free, unbound to any perception. Identity is free of doubt, struggle, self-hatred, shame. Because all of these are thoughts or momentary perceptions or views. They form and dissipate. They appear and dissolve. But what we are doesn't move. Not as a whole, because as a whole it's everything already. Everything we could ever possibly think, imagine, perceive, experience is already contained in what we are. We can't experience something new in a sense because we include everything. We are vast, limitless. Limitless in our subtlety, limitless in our range, limitless in our potential to experience. So this limitless potential, this infinite experiential spectrum, is far more what we are than any momentary struggle or doubt. So what is it to be potential? What is it to be unmanifest, unborn right now? What is it to never hold? What is it to never hold a view? What is never attached to any experience, and yet enjoys all experience? What is that? When we're free of holding because we're free of the one holding, then we don't hesitate, because life is just seamless enjoyment, seamless peace. We can even enjoy what is painful because it's just part of what is. It's not avoidable, and there's nothing apart to try to avoid it. There's nothing apart trying to manage anything. There's just the flow of existence, the flow of experience. Nothing fully forms. The vividness of full spectrum experiencing is the aliveness that is also completely empty of all substance. Tasting this, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to run from. There's nothing to accomplish. All is accomplished here, in the immediate. We don't have to take sides. We don't have to put our finger on the scale. We don't have to solve the problem of consciousness or self, because these are only momentary impressions. Just clouds, forming and disforming. But like clouds, they only leave impressions, never anything solid.